affecting me.
Benji, I know a lot of our viewers will be very familiar with you because you gave a very emotional interview on Ireland AM a few months back, and also on radio with Ryan Tubridy. But for the viewers who don't know your story and who don't know about little Adam, I'm going to take you right back.
Sure.
Let's go back to when you were chasing Jackie around Vodafone and trying to bag her as your future wife.
Oh dear, well that's really where it all started a number of years ago. We were working in ESAT Telecom, and I used to take up, sorry for everybody out there, cigarettes to try and meet Jackie for a cigarette somewhere just so as I could be beside her. I sent her a rose on email one day, and that kind of got her thinking, okay, well, this guy isn't too bad. And the best part is I wasn't earning enough money to buy a rose, so email was great. I could send her a free one. So really that's how it all started, where we met, and within about a year and a half of our first night out or whatever, we were married, and it hasn't. We haven't looked back ever since.
Big romance.
Big romance, and 10-year anniversary just last month, which was brilliant. So
super.
Been through all sorts of stuff.
So children came along.
Children came along. Our beautiful, wonderful Harry. He's our oldest. He's 8 years of age. And then our second one, Adam, came along, and he was probably the most difficult when it comes to birth, which is always the way. And it was actually very interesting when he was born. We had a very difficult pregnancy, and Jackie had a pretty tough labour and birth with him. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, as he popped out, he was kind of half out, and the sun literally shone in the window.
Clouds parted. Clouds
parted, I'll never forget it, and landed on his head. And I went, oh, wow.
And out he came.
And out he came. So it was a wonderful day. And then we had, who's next? Robbie. He's 1 now. Well, no, he's not. He's 3 in August. And he was going to be our youngest. We'd finished at 3. But then we had a very special little girl come along, Molly, who is, I have to say, she's just a little dote, yeah. So she is 9 months old now, so they were all of our wonderful kids.
So Adam has a little boy, boisterous, noisy, involved in everything.
Oh, he was an incredible little fella in the sense that he was just really funny, and he had a huge amount of confidence, and he was great friends with Harry. I mean, the two of them were just two boys who got on great. They hugged, they kissed, they played football all the time. He had great balance and great at sport, and he really was just such a special little guy that you could ask for, full of love and full of hugs and kisses and cuddles.
So when did the health become an issue?
The health was never an issue until the moment that literally we were told that he was in some very serious trouble. For the whole summer, it was a really rainy summer. It was the first, hopefully we get a good one this time, but it was not last year, but the summer before, really, really wet. We were out playing around, having great fun. He started just vomiting on a Friday. And we went, oh God, he's got a bug, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It was very severe and kept getting worse. I brought him to a doctor on a Sunday, and he said, oh God, he's got a really bad dose of it. Give him some Motilium and plenty of water and he's going to be fine. So that was that. Then on the Monday morning, which was the 13th of August, which was my birthday, I was kind of getting ready to go to work, and Jackie said, look, he had a really bad night. He was up all night. He was still getting sick. He's not getting any better. What are we going to do? So I said, look, we better bring him to the doctor because he's going to get really dehydrated. And when I think back, it was a great day off. It was a nice day. That was what was going through my head at the time. And he'll be fine. He'll get rehydrated and he'll go in a drip. Brought him into Tala Children's Hospital, where the nurses and doctors were absolutely amazing. He arrived in, and they said, oh God, he doesn't look too well. They put him onto a drip, and within a half an hour of him actually being admitted onto a drip, he got sick. I lifted him up in my arms, and I said, oh, you poor thing, you're okay, and I'm here with you. And he just went totally, he had a seizure and just totally collapsed. And I didn't know what was going on, and all of a sudden the doctors, came all running in, and they took him out straight into intensive care. And it's the Grey's Anatomy thing of bleeps and tubes, and it was madness. And I didn't think anything of this at all. I just thought this must be normal.
He'd had a massive brain hemorrhage.
It was actually it was a hemorrhage that probably killed him. But what really caused it was this massive brain tumour that we knew nothing about. It was one that kind of grew out, it kind of apparently doubled in size every day. And it just grew and grew and grew until eventually it got so big. It was explained to us that it was like blowing up a balloon in a bucket, and it hits the edge of the bucket and it bursts. And that was it. So we knew nothing about it. And to be honest with you, when we look back at it, we were so lucky that, you know, because we've come across a lot of people who've lost their children, and the stories of, you know, terrible stuff. So we were spared a huge amount, and we always look back at, you know, how lucky we are that it was Adam was here one day, as shocking and as hard as it was, he was gone the next. And
when did you realise that he was going to go? Did the doctors actually say, look, it's only a matter of hours now?
I never, you know, they told us it was a massive brain tumour and they'd have to operate, and we went, okay, and we saw the x-ray and it was like the size of a tennis ball in his little head, and it was, okay, like, is there hope? And I kind of felt at that stage that he was in really serious trouble. Then the surgeon came in and he said, look, you know, he's going to have severe brain damage. If he gets through the next 24 hours, we can do an operation and we can see what we can do. They did the operation, they came back and they said, look, it's very, very serious, it's very, very bad. And it was at that stage that we really then knew that, you know, he wasn't going to come through it. And from that moment, he was lying in the bed, and it was very strange because there was a lot of older people, very old people who had strokes, and there was Adam in this bed that was like, you know, 10 sizes too big for him, and he looked like an angel, a beautiful blonde hair, and he was just lying there. And myself and Jackie, we just got onto the bed and lay beside him for about 3 or 4 hours, and then the nurse would come in and said, yeah, his heart rate is getting slower. And eventually she just came. We knew at that stage that was it, and we were just trying to be with them. So that was it. He just, we lay beside him, we sang songs to him, and we told him we loved him, and as we did every day anyway. And the nurse came in and she said, it's time.
And what were you saying to him?
We were just telling him that we loved him. We were singing Hush Little Baby, Don't You Cry to him. We were rubbing his head. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
So we were doing, I mean, you know, it was what anybody would do. It's just, we'll see you again and you're so good and we love you. And we took his handprints and his beautiful curly hair. We took a snippet out of his hair so we'd have that. Because it was so sudden, we had no idea. And it was, you know, you're saying goodbye to your and that we were spared one thing, which was a lot of pain, and seeing your son, which to be honest with you, I don't know how anybody can cope with that. I mean, you know, we are lucky in that sense. But then on the other side of it, you know, when I look back, we've very few videos of him because the video camera was broken, or we were too busy playing or doing whatever. So you don't have time to do it. But really, what came out of that was, you know, I played with them every day. Dad, will you play football? Harry, will you play football? We'd all play together. Yeah. We'd have fun, and I was never too tired. I never, you know, it was always get home from work as quick as I can. So I was very lucky in that I always tried to get family being number one and work number two as the balance. And at that stage, you know, after he'd passed away, which is 6 o'clock in the morning, how he arrived,
with the sun shining,
with the sun shining, and it was one of those things that, you know, we didn't have to tell him really that we loved him, or I'm sorry I didn't play football with you, or I'm sorry we didn't do this, because we did it all. And that particular message or sentiment really hit home to me, because Jackie said to me the night he died, why did this happen to us? And I said, we're going to be able for this. We've no guilt, we've no regrets with that, and we've no blame. We are so lucky. They're probably the 3 hardest things to get through. Yeah. And at that moment I said, I have to tell people of the importance of, you know, your kids are going to grow up, they're going to get old, they're going to leave you, they're going to love you, they're going to hate you, but you have a certain period of time, and it flies by so quickly till they get to an age where, you know, no matter what you say to them isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. So you're building your relationship with your children when they're so young. And some people find it difficult to say I love you. You know, some, you know, it's
not in our nature as Irish people.
Yeah, it's kind of false maybe. Yeah. So it was. I wrote my first book, which was the Before You Sleep book, to literally for parents to tell their children, you know, in a way that they'll understand. I love you much more than Santa Claus. I love you much more than Halloween. I love you much more than space. I love you much, all of the things that kids relate to these days. And
that's the book you won the award for the other night.
The first book, and that was really I mean, it was huge. I published it myself. I wrote it. I got onto Roxanne down the Cartoon Saloon. She did wonderful illustrations. Published it all myself and did all the marketing. Very lucky that I had an interview with TV3, and that really helped things get out there. And it was a massive seller coming up to Christmas. It was really huge.
Hence book number 2.
But it is so beautifully illustrated. It is the perfect children's book, and even an adult's book to read to a child in the bed at night. It's fantastic.
Absolutely gorgeous. That is in the bookshops right now, Benji.
That is
and
everywhere.
Adam is in that, and his brother Robbie.
Adam and Robbie are in this.
Or Harry, is it?
Sorry, Harry
Adam
and
Harry.
Adam, are in this particular one here. And what I did actually, when I decided that I was going to try and publish these myself, so here's an opportunity to help other kids who are sick. So what I do with each of the books, I just give a small donation from every single book sold to a charity. So the first book was for Barrettstown. The second one is for Make-A-Wish. So Adam now, from his little cloud up in the sky, he's able to grant children wishes who are terminally ill. And that's the Tesco Charity of the Year this year, so they've got behind it, so it's everywhere. So it's in Tesco's, it's in Eason's, it's in Hughes and Hughes, it's in Dubray, and the support has been phenomenal.
So well written, Benji. It's absolutely a cracking kids' book, aside from the story behind it. So that's the book, Adam's Amazing Space Adventure. Benji's going to stay with us. You can call us.
We do our best to hear as many calls as possible, and we've a lot of texts to get through, particularly in light of, I suppose, the emotion, the honesty, and can I say, like, rarely I'm stuck for words, but in the past 15 minutes you just don't know what to say, because as a parent you tend to think that you have problems. You don't have problems. If you have 2 healthy children, that's all that really counts, and I think that's been echoed by many of our viewers today. I'm having sleepless nights with my toddler, but I will never complain again. That's Jen and Tala. Equally sad story here. Lost a lovely Adam too. Cancer at 2 months, died at 16 months. After over 40 chemos, brain surgery, radiotherapy, my sympathy to you. 2 angels we have.
Dozens of texts like it, Benji. I remember hearing Benji on the radio while I was pregnant. I was sitting in the car park and work with tears rolling down my face at his story. The story really touched me. I'm sitting here with my baby, and his story just reminded me to cherish my baby every day. You're so brave to tell of your experience. Another texter, you're so brave to talk about your son. God bless you.
Okay.